Nothing great in the world was accomplished without passion. We learn from history that we do not learn from history. To be independent of public opinion is the first formal condition of achieving anything great. Genuine tragedies in the world are not conflicts between right and wrong. They are conflicts between two rights. Evil resides in the very gaze which perceives evil all around itself. Truth is found neither in the thesis nor the antithesis, but in an emergent synthesis which reconciles the two. It is solely by risking life that freedom is obtained. The individual who has not staked his or her life may no doubt be recognized as a person, but he or she has not attained the truth of this recognition as an independent self-consciousness. The valor that struggles is better than the weakness that endures. People who are too fastidious towards the finite never reach actuality, but linger in abstraction, and their light dies away. History is not the soil in which happiness grows. The periods of happiness in it are the blank pages of history. We may affirm absolutely that nothing great in the world has been accomplished without passion. The state of man's mind, or the elementary phase of mind which he so far possesses, conforms precisely to the state of the world as he so far views it. The length of the journey has to be borne with, for every moment is necessary. What is reasonable is real. That which is real is reasonable. The one who merely flees is not yet free. In fleeing, he is still conditioned by that from which he flees. When we look at the world rationally, the world looks rationally back. War is progress, peace is stagnation. Uneducated people delight in argument and fault-finding, for it is easy to find fault, but difficult to recognize the good and its inner necessity. By nature man is not what he ought to be. Only through a transforming process does he arrive at truth. Every consciousness pursues the death of the other. Wickedness also resides in the gaze that perceives itself as innocent and surrounded by wickedness. It is hard to see why we should not turn round and mistrust this very mistrust. Should we not be concerned as to whether this fear of error is not just the error itself? Not curiosity, not vanity, not the consideration of expediency, not duty and conscientiousness, but an unquenchable, unhappy thirst that brooks no compromise, leads us to truth. Everything turns on grasping and expressing the true, only as substance, but equally as subject. The important question of how poverty can be remedied is one which agitates and torments modern societies, especially. Each consciousness seeks the death of the other. To judge a thing that has substance and solid worth is quite easy, to comprehend it is much harder, and to blend judgment and comprehension in a definitive description is the hardest thing of all. The most obvious symptoms of an epoch-making system are the misunderstandings and the awkward conduct of its adversaries. The nature of finite things is such as to have the seed of passing away as their essential being. The hour of their birth is the hour of their death. The life of Minerva is flying to the involin of the dust. The grand world of the world is not accomplished without passion. The spirit is never at rest, but always engaged in ever-progressive motion, in giving itself a new form. Education in its early stages always begins with fault-finding, but when it is complete, it sees the positive element in everything. One cannot speak of an injustice of nature in the unequal distribution of possessions and resources, for nature is not free, and is therefore neither just nor unjust. Our generation only has to undertake the task of collecting the treasures that our ancestors scattered for the sake of heaven. The natural world of a person is close to Tom and the city, which is the sign of the fence. When philosophy paints its gray on gray, then has a form of life grown old, and with gray on gray, it cannot be rejuvenated, but only known. The owl of Minerva first takes flight with twilight closing in. Devotion, a state of mind in which it refuses to occupy itself any longer with the limited and particular. In thinking thee of the eternal, we must link the eternal with the accidentality of our thinking. A regret arises, and this is the sensing of this separation, this contradiction, like the sadness accompanying the idea of living forces and the incompatibility between them and the corpse. To say that in every falsehood there is a grain of truth, is to treat the two like oil and water, which cannot be mixed, and are only externally combined.